Yo, welcome. Today we're gonna do some. Why the fuck did I start talking and start eating as well? Today we're gonna do some live trading, TA, just mess around a bit. And I see that I kind of missed this little move I was expecting here. My son just woke up, so it is actually night time here. But yeah, I saw some great opportunities. I have been waiting for this bottom to form. We can look at XRP, we can look at Ethereum, we can look at whatever, anything basically just dipped. I'm just looking here at Restream. I'm gonna take it out. Mm-hmm. Great. Perfect. Now I can actually see the chat. Last time we had a little difficulty because my chat wasn't actually popping. So when I was just getting messages, ask questions about TA or whatever, you know, I couldn't see it. Like that was just so annoying. I couldn't see it. Let me see if I'm actually live here. I can see that. Yeah, I don't know. My title is weird. Let me see if I can change it. Mm. Yeah. So we're doing the $250 to $100,000 trading challenge. Perfect. Now the stream isn't called some bullshit. Well, yeah. Let's start with the general market outlook because, as some of you guys know, we have been waiting for a strong move upwards, but it does look like we are taking a little dip down. But this is on the daily. Let me just say, personally, I do not think that. Yes, this is here perfect. I do not think that this will necessarily be a sustained downwards move. Zoom in on it here. Let's go to low time. This is the only. Let me just remove the M2 because it's messing up the view a little bit here. This move down, as you can see here, we've been ranging. This is just speed momentum, but we have been ranging within this indecision candle. This wick that happened last week. This is Sunday. The Sunday is closing, and you can see 2 hours, so it's 10 o'clock. Yeah, basically here, almost 11 o'clock. It's like 22:45. Then how the fuck does this candle close in 2 hours and 15 minutes? This makes absolutely no sense. Well, doesn't really matter. We have been ranging within the wick of this indecision candle here, top to bottom. Just ranging, as you can see. This whole week has just been straight ranging. But we have been trending up. If we take this to this range here, to the ultimate wick, um, like taking the body here would kind of suggest that we could close today. Yeah, we could close today in this area even, but the wick range would suggest that we are also reaching a low. This could change fast. Seeing that basically every time frame is oversold, like 6 hourly, 4 hourly, 3 hourly. Let's go down to the lower time frames. On the 1 hourly here, even we just had. I have an indicator right now It's on Binance, it's liquidation. So when I see these candles that are kind of light blue, it means that we have a mass liquidation event, and it makes sense, like from this first mass liquidation of longs, we see that we have been building momentum again. I think people were expecting a move up, as you can see here. RSI is bottoming out. People expect a strong move up, but then again, we dumped. But this range on every single time frame, even the 30-minute time frame, you can see that we're reaching this oversoldness once again. Zoom out to the 15 is low, 5 is starting to go low again, and we actually just had an this is starting to look interesting. Like, I've been waiting for a signal to enter, and maybe I should just go ahead and do it. Like 2020 on Ethereum. Of course, I'm looking at Bitcoin right now, so maybe I'm just gonna go in on a 1 minute time frame and look for a possible move. Yeah, dude, this would have been the perfect. Not perfect. That's bullshit. But this would have been a good entry. Getting that. Looking at this Bollinger range, if we zoom out, I want a 0.5% move. Like, that would be perfect for me. I'm chasing 15%, and with a 25x leverage, that's approximately that 10 to 15% trades. Because as you can see here, I've made this challenge of starting with a $250 and just 50 trades of this range, this approximate range, and we hopefully will end up with 100k, by 40 trades even. Like you see, this 250k. That's actually insane. But we are already at trade number 6. Sometimes we can trade one good trade and just completely skip 6 trades. Like last time we had what was it? And I actually could have gotten more, in contrast of P&L. Like, I think it was this trade. Yeah, we got a 20% trade. As you can see here, a 20% trade by shorting. So that means that we kind of ditched a whole trade from that position. But it looks like we are going down to a good entry for a long. Let me just start by putting in a $500 as we are around that mark, and I wanna long it, and I wanna see how we are looking at the larger time frames. This could be. Let's try. Just drop straight into that one, like straight in. Oh yeah, this is where I fucked up. Let me explain. Yeah, this is it's because I opened a trade earlier. Same leverage, same position size. So I basically just re-entered that trade. Doesn't matter. I think I'll just. It looks like we weren't done. Like, if you take these time frames into consideration, it looks like we might go. We're basically just ranging to the area of this gap here could be erased quickly. Yeah, so I'm not totally off by wanting to long here. I don't think so. Like look at the time frames. Mm, this is actually fairly sharp move. Uh, but again, you know the weekends are low liquidity. It's easier to control the markets. Um, so I'm just trying to imagine, like, if I should set a take profit from my next open order. Because, as I said, weekends are low liquidity. It's easier to move the market. And it's the baby monitor. I might ditch for like 2 minutes, but it's easier to move the markets and manipulating the markets to the downside over the weekend. Like, look at this. Yeah, I gotta go in just a second here. But just, yeah, I'm gonna get back to it. BRB. Yeah, what were we getting at? We were getting at, like, I think, um, yeah, talking about time frames. Let's zoom out. Start about like 1 week here. Holy smokes! If we look at the 1 week time frame, we have been oversold since September, and yeah, we did have a September move here, which led to the newest all-time high, right, at the 125k range. A very aggressive short-term move, but then we have just been oversold. It's just been terrible. Um, and if you can imagine it, I know so many people are bearish, but we're still in a bull market. As long as we hold this trend line here of making higher lows and higher highs, we could actually still be in for a great new high. And I don't expect, I know some people are still talking about like 200k Bitcoin 2026 or whatever, and see we might see something in that direction, but it would take, in my opinion, two tops. I don't think we should. I'm not aiming for like a full bound 80% move from this here. Yeah, that's even more. Like, I expect if we get a rebound that we could get to the 130k range. And that's based on previous movements from gold all-time highs to Bitcoin all-time highs, and kind of this what's it called, a digression from previous gains, that it's kind of a diminishing return. But like the daily has been high, and the problem about RSI is, like, if you see here, this was a big dump, 20% dump on this descent of the stochastic RSI, and this dump here from to the bottom was like 15%. But then again, we have a move here. It's only 10%. So even though these, and this was actually very aggressive, so it could look very aggressive, but not be that, you know, harmful. And if we look at this top here, and we look at the current price that is sitting here, we're already down like 6-7%. So we could have, that was fucking cringe, we could have a bottom area forming out at around, you know, 86, 85k. I hope we don't go lower than that, because looking at this upwards trend, this, if we bottom here and we close like within the next 2 hours, if we close just around the 90k range here, that would be very, very bullish in my opinion, because we continue this strong upwards trend, this flag here, as you can see. I don't know if we could take kind of a squeeze here, like, as you can see, we have big ranges, but it gets smaller and smaller, and I hope this little coil here, it gets, I would think that the playout would be around, you know, 24, actually Christmas time here, that we just range and range and range until we have a weekly close above the last indecision candle week, as I showed you here, the long leg doji, as it's always also called. Here you can see the legs of this one, because we had such an aggressive range that whole week, but we had zero body, meaning that it was kind of a shift in sentiment, extreme sell pressure, and then we had a bounce and we couldn't sustain that sell pressure. Well, I gotta say, these grapes, they're called Autumn Crisp. I wish I had my mic right now, because this is some premium ASMR shit. Premium. Let's see here. It's not looking good, bruv. I know I entered a little bit too early, because I could have caught a swing here, but it looks like on the time frames we're seeing here, 5 and 10 minutes, that we're retracing this candle, this 10-minute candle. Let's see, 30 minutes. Again, it's creeping up. If we could close this candle, it's 20 seconds, so we can't. But if we can have a contra move soon, it could be a shift. I see here like a short-lived dip and then a shift. Hey, it's Pandy. What's up, bro? So I'm just sitting here eating my grapes. Chilling. So quick update. We are 2x up from our initial start here, $250. And we are sitting here at the $500 mark. Next trade, we should cash out if we hit that 15%. We should cash out around $80. Actually, I think I will be satisfied with even just a 10% move because the entry line around here. Actually, I think I will try something because I have a position open for this, and let's see, if I just make like a 30x here, do I add to that position? Mm, because I honestly believe that this is a very, we could go lower, right? But again, I'm not gonna be the guy that goes 75x for that scalp. I would rather find a comfortable entry that I, as you can see here, that I estimate. Yeah. Good night, Asia King. Good night, Pandy Man. Yeah, I'm not trying to catch the Asian market. I think I'll go to bed a little bit before they open, but I am trying to catch the sell-off this Sunday, as you can see. If we retrace down to the lower Bollinger line here, like we have been kissing it for so long, just sneaking down this ramp. And I think I actually saw this exact setup a little before. Mm, a little too aggressive in my opinion. Uh, yeah, I think it was around here. Yeah, as you can see here, just a very, very tight. This was the R size, like it's like the same, but sneaking down, slightly crossing, but still kissing the lower line, and then having that R side to drive us to a, what was that? 3% move. So if we go down here and we have that was also aggressive, like, yeah, I don't even know right now. I think today has been way too aggressive in my opinion, so that I can actually find make sense of it. I haven't been on the charts at all the last 3 days, maybe. No, that's a lie. I think the last 2 days I haven't been on the charts. Um, so I'm just trying to find out why this dump. Okay, ETH is actually looking interesting. Like, could we have a mid-term range of? For fun, I'm just gonna make a long here. Or am I? I mean, this would have been a nice candle to catch. And the 15-minute is just so oversold, but we have kind of this uneven territory where the 1 minute, I think it's kind of a I'm not really early to the move and I'm not really late to the move. So either we will keep ranging down on Ethereum. Do XRP actually have a better? We could also go to something like Doge. Nah, I'm gonna stick to a little bit of a slightly changing structure. I think I like XRP better, even though the The RSI is weird to me. Uh, oh damn. Would I short it then? Or would I buy it? You know what? Let's go take XRP here for an example, and then see kind of that that structure. Let's take it in a 4 hourly. If we take this structure here for XRP, and we say that we have had maybe even on daily. Damn, bro, XRP is ass. I fucking hate XRP for this reason. Like, where are the where are the $1,000 XRP maxis here, man? Where the fuck are you now? But I know it's just a sad way of doing. I hate doing TA on a shitcoin like this. Like this price action is just wonky as shit. Can we find any sense of this madness on the weekly? What's funny to me is like XOP actually it front ran all the gains. You know, it outperformed Bitcoin back in the Q1, and then it just started just doing its own thing. But its own thing wasn't good. It was bad. It's not underperforming anything in my opinion. Like, look at this. On the weekly, look at this. Now let's take Solana for example. I mean, Solana is ranging better. Sui, it's actually also ranging better. Have a nice curve to it here. Maybe I should make a Sui trade. Just to have something that is a little bit more aggressive so that I can maybe close that trade a little sooner. Like this would be insane to catch. Like with a 10x long. Maybe I should just do a 20x on both. Because I know it would be bad to open a long and then have like a 5% dip. But then again, did we have an indecision candle for Sui? It's not actually the same. It has more body, but still, if we take the daily on Sui here, we might still be able to catch a the problem is right now the daily looks overbought. For almost all coins, it looks overbought. So we have kind of been waiting for this slight correction, but we didn't really break out. Yeah, but the 4 hourly, if you look at that, it's just like that. It's the cock and balls. it's the cock and balls here. Like we're just getting the shaft. I mean, really? If this is gonna be kind of is it gonna get flaccid or is it gonna get erected? Like, fuck's sake, man. Can I catch that dot? Yeah, fuck that shit. Well, it looks like it's bottoming out on the 4 hourly, 2 hourly, strong bottom forming. 1 hourly, further confirmation, 30 minutes starting to move, 15 minutes. Indecision as shit. 5 minutes. It's looked like it just made a move. And honestly, it looks like shit. But if you just take this move here, that's a 10% 10% of the trade. That's just off a little ass move, man. It would have been a great trade just on the last quarter. So yeah, I think we're right to wait here, because if we can just find maybe a rebound from this Bollinger, and we can find I mean, the 30-minute Bollinger is wide. Catching any type of entry, let's say here, if we get a slight decrease, sorry, retracement, and flying to the top Bollinger, that's mad. Like, we have been here almost 3 times today. We have visited this area. How much downside do we have? 1%. What about on the hourly? It really isn't looking good, man. But then again, we have this kind of support level here that we are bouncing from. So either we're just completely losing that structure and we are entering a very bad area. But RSI isn't really in favor of that. I think M2 as well is telling us that we have the liquidity and we just got rate cuts and yada 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 yada. All this news, it doesn't really matter. News doesn't move shit. Maybe short term it does, but just listen to that. I mean, that's a smart move here. I'll take that any day. But should I just open that one? Because oh man, but that's what I don't like to see in the 5 minute. That is. But then again, seeing this here, that's the problem about RSI. It's just the speed. Doesn't really show price, because this is a strong move up. This is a strong move up, even though it's already kind of in the overbought level. And this, see if I can find what I'm talking about, like an example here. Like, it is just a dump, but this wasn't that bad. For example, here it could be the same setup, that we get this top and then it fakes out and then it makes the move. So we could still have a lot of upside left, especially seeing that if we zoom out, the more we zoom out, the lower down on the Bollinger we get. And the fact that we're expanding so much, like as we see here, that's not looking good, because we have, what the fuck did I just do? We have often made these channels and then expand heavily, but this time it was to the upside, and this time it's to the downside, suggesting that this move isn't done yet, because we haven't really, we have actually kind of reached it here. So 1561. Let's just hope this stays for a while, because this is more what I'm looking at right now, right? We have this long lasted sell-off, and then the expansion comes to the downside. I think that's more like where we're sitting right now. Then again, it might make more sense. Now, why did I do that? I just I just think that like I saw the 5 minute was kind of changing direction, but I'm just at the moment right now where it's sitting at the middle of the Bollinger for the 5 minutes. So yeah, it could go down here. I could get a better entry, but then again, zooming out like on the quarterly here, 15 minutes, it is showing a strong from the last close 2 minutes ago, like a strong change of direction. Can it sustain that? I have no fucking idea. But on the 30 minute, like it's looking way better. So if we have a TP up here, like I know my kid is crying, and I will instantly check that shit out. So let's say like here, just in case we have a sig wig. But duty calls. So I kind of have a problem right now with my kid because he's so fucking strong. Like we cuddle him in this kind of burrito swaddle. I think it's called swaddling. But he he no matter how tight I swaddle him, how many techniques I try to use. Yeah, that was what I'm talking about the 5 minute. Like we could have gotten that entry. Yeah. Let's hope the RSI flips. My God, fucking again. He's so strong that he just rips open his swaddle and he just rips out his binky and he throws it. I don't know why the fuck he does it because immediately after that he's like, I need that shit again. I'm like, what the fuck? Why throw it then? Can we find support here? Like I know Bitcoin is the terminator for the whole market. Actually, let's look at all Bitcoin pairs for a second. It's been a while. Because oh, that's what I made wrong here. I had the Bitcoin chart just. Yes, I think that's more like it. think I think this is, but why the actual fuck isn't my? I made some tea in this one. Maybe it's because I need to exclude stablecoins as well. Does this provide a better? No, I don't think it does. I'm making a mistake here. If it's all the Bitcoin pairs, so then might be total 3. divided by Bitcoin. Yeah, and there it was. Let's just save this one so I don't make that mess again. Let's see here. I know Benjamin Cohen was talking a lot about having to go back to the range lows for Bitcoin dominance. And we are also talking about total 3 all Bitcoin pairs, about ranging down here, crossing down here. So we also need to go down here, but I don't think that is actually the truth, because if we look back at the 2020 season, we had COVID, and I think that we were on a trajectory. Of course, we can dip below here, but we were on a trajectory where we had these support lines, and this dip here was kind of excessive. I think this median upward trend is more realistic, and by talking about diminishing returns, like we have a less volatile market that swings within this kind of funnel, I think that this was the bottom. This was the next time we hit that. Was that at the exact same fucking range? It was actually worse. So like we actually hit perfect support on that. That is scary. Now that is fucking scary in my opinion, because it was a random crash in the market, and these exchanges had faults and breakdowns and whatever. But why is it then so? Like, I made this TA back in when did I get blocked from CryptoWars? I think it was around. No, it was here in summertime. Yeah, no, in 22. What the fuck am I talking about? It was here. I was making it around here. Yeah, summertime, talking about, like, in my opinion, at the summertime, I was seeing we were reaching the range low, in my opinion, not here where you're expecting us to go, but I expected us to go at this low. This was the bottom, in my opinion, for the old Bitcoin pairs. So I was getting bullish, and the whole market was like, nah, because they were kind of following his narrative about we have to go to the range lows. And keep in mind, from this place, it's still like a 40% dump on all Bitcoin pairs, and I just don't think it's realistic. I honestly don't, because are you looking at alts right now? Do you need us to go down here again? I don't think it's gonna. I think we are at the bottom, at least the bottom area. So yeah, we had this insane crash, but alts are kind of regaining some strength in contrast to Bitcoin. If we look at, and that's also what I'm talking about, like the performance here, the old Bitcoin strength, it might also lose its volatile move. So people expecting some, that's actually mad, people expecting a 10x on Solana or on XRP. Like, that's why I'm marking these XRP maxis, these influencers talking about $100, $1,000 XRP. Tokenomics wise, it doesn't fucking make sense, like, at all. But I do expect we have less upside each alt season, or at least this alt season, but I still do expect it to be great. And I do realize now that I said here that I expected to get an entry at this level. So why didn't I just short the market, right? I know some people might think that Why didn't you just short it when you expect it to go down here? Because you're looking at that is 5-minute candles and you're seeing that the RSI is going down, trying to find the bottom. It usually wants to get to the oversold before, but that is because exactly these charts, because we are ranging in the middle, and while we are ranging, we are trending down, meaning that it looks to me, it looks like that we are trying to find bullish momentum, because looking at the larger time frames, we are still oversold. So it's regaining momentum. As you can see here, we had a strong move up. Like we closed here, we had the move, but it's retracing again. But it is still moving, like it's still trying. The bulls are still fighting. And because I'm bullish, I expect us at least to make like this candle again. I'm not saying within the next half hour, but I'm expecting us to get back to this candle. And hopefully, because it looks like we are changing direction, let's just say here, within a couple of hours, we could maybe reach an oversoldness. Hopefully, if we follow this channel here and we get oversold, let's just say we get to this range here. That's a big ass move with a 20x. That's fine. 1 hourly, again, as I said, we are very oversold. 2 hourly, very totally dead, flatlining. 4 hourly, again, you can see this is just one red candle now, but it still had a deep wick. It's getting oversold, signaling to me that we are reaching, if we haven't like the speed, the blue line here is kind of that's when you're not native English speaker. Like the blue line is showing direction and speed, and then the orange line is kind of the current state. So the blue line says to me, that's what I'm reading, that we are down here now. This is the direction we are at, and we want to find the bottom now. We are oversold. We have like 6 hour charts here. 6 hour, like, I hate saying like. I actually gotta stop saying that shit. I think it's just a bad habit when you're not a native English speaker and you just adopt this TikTok white girl bullshit or, you know, vocabulary. It's terrible. But like, it looks like, yeah, I can say that. It looks like we're finding the bottom anyway on every time frame, every single time frame except for the daily. It looks like we're just ranging in the high end, but if this is the range right now, let's say this is the range right now, if this is the range that we are, can I just make it rectangular actually? What the is here? If you can see this daily range here, and it's also a resistance point, it's also within the range of the last high wick. So we take this and we go down here to the bottom. As you can see here, it's also very strong. So this is the, I would call it a liquidity zone. So if this is our ranging, either we break down as we're doing right now, and we go full breakdown mode to maybe towards the next zone we have. Like we have on a daily, we're at the mid of the Bollinger Band, and I hope that we could find some support, but we could also break down and just completely get, liquidated on this position. It looks like we're crossing a little bit aggressively with, to the bad side. But the next zone, I would say, is kind of this zone here. And that is immediately below it. So we don't have that much of a... We could also just draw fair value gap zones. That's usually a little bit better. Like, stop saying that shit. You take, this is usually how you make a fair value gap. The top wick of the first candle and the bottom wick of that third candle. So we have a fair value gap. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Let's make the fair value gaps green. Boy talking again. He's enjoying himself. That's fucking annoying. Swallow King. Okay. So we kind of refound that mid Bollinger Band level. I'm happy to see that crossing down. I can see here. Let's go real into it here. Yeah, I'm happy to see that aggressive dip. How aggressive was it actually? Okay, that's actually 0.5%. I'm happy to see that dip wasn't immediately sustained. That it was just like an outlier, so to say. Maybe. Let's see. But touching the lower Bollinger Band and getting rejected is bullish in my opinion. Of course, we didn't do it on the 30-minute. Like if we did touch here, I'm not saying it would be better confirmation, but seeing the 30-minute candle here, and we just started this one, it does look like it told us again we couldn't sustain this attempt of breaking out bullish again. But not to worry, as long as we're in this range here. I don't know where we have been since up here, but the longer this drags out, it's just telling me that we are in fact oversold, but we're just waiting for the catalyst. So since this move down here, this is more steep move here, like you can see it's like, shut the fuck up. You can see it's position TP, like what? Oh, okay. I was just reading it wrong. Like in my opinion, I can see down here. I don't think you can see it on your stream, but it looked like my TP was set for 53k, and I'm like, how? Ooh, doesn't look too good. It really doesn't look too good. Having these red on red on red. I know these candles are aggressive. 1, 2, 3, 4. But I'm just trying to find a trend. It's actually 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 5 candles here. But it is actually very rare that we have more than 4 consecutive red candles before a... And it's not much, but before we have kind of a move. And when we're looking at December here, we're looking at... You might see down here at the... Can I drag this? That's the wrong thing I dragged. Can I drag the camera? Yeah. Down here, I think each 10-15 minutes, that will pop up a trading competition information screen. And that is basically just Bitunix. If you sign up with this score here, you can trade any futures, just signing up to that competition. You can find it pinned on my Twitter link, a link in the bio. You can see my link tree. Just go to my Twitter, and I have pinned that competition. What it means is you just have to trade futures. That's basically, do whatever you're doing. You don't have to change anything, but by doing that, you're automatically in the competition for a possible total prize pool of $5,000. That's still a whole lot. I feel like every time I'm going live, because of these bullshit Danish hours, I'm getting entries that's just ass. If it was like but then again, a 4-hourly candle. If we were getting in here, that would be perfect. Looking at Sui, this would have been a... Let's just say we stopped around here. 2%, 2.7% times 20. It's like a 60% profit move. But the problem is, I am getting in here where I expect a possible downside, but I'm still expecting more upside. I know the daily is ass, and we might just get liquidated on this one, because I'm just gonna let this ride. Honestly, I'm just gonna let this ride and see what happens, because the reality is I might be going off soon. I'm just, when I see these time frames, I'm watching 4-hourly, 2-hourly, because I want to see that while I'm live in this trading session, where does the upside or the downside lie? And holy shit, now it's just free falling. It's Bitcoin as well. Yup. It's just having the time of its life. Just enjoying that roller coaster. Even seeing like here, I'm saying like again, even seeing, okay, 30 minutes, that's not to cry. On the 1 hourly, we have a big, huge liquidation alert here on Binance, signaling that this big ass dip here that happened around noon today was just longs getting flushed. All of a sudden, we just, straight up liquidation train. But it was immediately eaten up, and we just continued. As you can see here, we are building up. We might not be able to see it. Maybe if I do like this, I can bring it up here. You can see that we are experiencing a lot of liquidation pressure again, but we're still just going down. It's actually a problem, because if we get liquidation pressure and we keep going down, that is longs getting liquidated. I would love to see a counter move like we saw here. A big liquidation event, and then we are slowly building again. Which ultimately, hopefully, will lead to something like this. As you can see here, yeah, perfectly. That we have counter liquidations. For example, this was an immediate response. Longs getting liquidated, counter move, shorts getting liquidated, and we just start ranging again. And then we have an alert again here saying that longs are out, we build, boop, shorts are out. That is just market makers. They're just taking back liquidity. That's their main goal right now, in my opinion, and what I see on the larger time frames playing out is, holy smokes, where the shit we at? Okay, I'm way back. Perfect. In my opinion, as long as we hold above 83k and we close there, as long as we hold that, we are still trending upwards. We're still holding our ground. Market makers are just toying with us. I mean, it would be comical in the next hour to just go down to 86.8k, close perfectly on the lower range of this last candle, performing kind of a perfect evening star, and then just shoot next the Monday, have a fake out Sunday dump and then just shoot. It would be hysterically comical in my opinion, because it would just be peak manipulation. But let's not get value gaps. I'm looking for other TA to play out. I'm looking for all of that. And I think I've already shown you. I don't know, have I shown you on this one? No, I don't think I've shown you on this one actually. Let's just find a new Bitcoin chart that is fresh. Well, we could find the TME futures to kind of... Do we have any gaps? Yeah, we're looking at weekly mesh. Might be looking at... We don't have any gaps actually. We have this gap. Like this was more, and this got eaten up. They usually say that CME gaps will get eaten up eventually. This is a big gap, and you can see we ate that again here. We just swept it. This was also we can say fairly big gap that inevitably also got ate. But I don't think this gap... I mean, the problem with this is that, let's say for any other reason, Bitcoin goes back here to the CME gap and we close at 116k or slightly above, whatever, in this range, and people will just be like, yeah, they always close CME gaps. That's not true. The fact is that with a very volatile coin, the odds of it doing it is high. Can we find instances of this not being true? I don't know, but it isn't a major gap. This was a 4% gap. This was a almost 4% gap. And this was a I'm not sure it's even a full percent. Oh, exactly 1%. Yeah. But as you can see, still, I don't know if I would call this a bear flag, but it's still trending upwards. I can't even draw that shit. But yeah, what I was actually wanting to show you guys was if you're looking at the weekly, even if you are bearish, let's say you're bearish, and you're saying that the TA is signaling that we have to go down. Let's just draw something bearish. Let's draw something very bearish here. It's funny because I do believe that this range here is realistic. It could happen something like that. At least back down to, you know, the previous head and shoulders here. So let's say you're bearish, right? We're going down. And if we go down to 64k Bitcoin, that is, I honestly think 70k could still be a very, it could be a bear market low, or maybe, because the last year in 2021, the top was 65k. So I think that this range would be a natural. Holy shit, I forgot to turn on the baby monitor, but he's not saying anything, so. But let's say this area here. This could be a possible area for Bitcoin to retrace to, signaling that we could range between 70k and 60k. I mean, that's a fair speculatory range. And if this was the all-time high, it would still mean that Bitcoin completely crashed up towards 50%. And if it is not the all-time high, and we get, as I said before, a possible top side of like around this area, 135 to 130, let's be conservative, 130, that would be a almost 55% dump. And last time Bitcoin topped out here, it had a very aggressive dump of, holy shit, 70%. So let's go back even further. Fuck's sake. This is the very, no, it's not the very fucking beginning. I hate these Bitcoin charts. That's like, you're not gonna tell me that. Yeah, I was about to say that Binance don't have, you know, data from before that. They don't. Yes, this is better. This is way better. If we're looking at the here, 2017, from that top, let's zoom in. From the 2017 top to the 2018 bottom, that is 84%. Let's just help with ChatGPT here, because I don't want to do all the math. First dip is 84%. Second dip is 75%. So we can actually make it, what the fuck? We can make ChatGPT following this logic and saying that, is it actually by 9? Yeah, so I'm telling that because it's decreasing by 9%, but I don't think that a specific percent amount is realistic. Let's take the percentage decrease, not whole percentage number value, and follow the logic. So first it's like a 10% decrease. Step 2, we have the same. Yeah, it's actually sound logic. So using that 9%, 66%. We actually went lower here. November 22, we went lower, but like the immediate how much lower than the top did we go? We went, let's take it here. We went around 20% lower, 16%. What about if we did it here? If we went 16% lower than the top here, I mean, that would just be insane, right? No? It wouldn't be that far-fetched. It would be somewhere between this range, like 58k. That would, let's say 60k then. 60k. And we have to go 66% down and hit. We can't reverse engineer this. Okay, yeah. If I go down 66% and hit 66,000, what was my starting number? Starting number would be 1. Whew. So this makes less sense to me. Because if we start at this range and we go down 66%, that would mean we would hit. So it's not actually true then. Yeah. If we have to follow this exact same metric of hitting a linear kind of decrease, last from 17 to 21, we went down 9% less, 9 percentage point less, and from 2021 to now, we could have went down 9%. That's again less. That would mean that we have a 66% dump from the all-time high, and we have to, if we have to follow the logic, that we go to the last C cycle all-time high and dip around 10-15% below that. That would mean that either we have to go to 180 and then dip that same amount here, 66%, to find that low, or it would mean that we have to go to like 170 and hit the same low range, but that's still from here a rally of at least almost a 2x from here. What last time we had a fake out, not a fake out, like a correction. We also did a 2x. What about 17? In 17 we actually just had one top. It was a completely different setup. What about back here? We have a correction here. Oh, it's so different because it is really a completely different market. But it was also a 2x from that, but it wasn't a higher high. Then again on 17 we have this just one, but the bear market setup was continuous fake outs. 50% increase from that indecision candle. And as you can see, that is exactly what I'm talking about right now. It's actually the exact same thing I'm talking about right now. We have an indecision candle here. And based on where from that top and bottom it would break out, would, in my opinion, determine the course of direction. So we broke out to the top side, we had a breakout, we couldn't sustain it, no new all-time high, and we go down again. Ultimately, actually also finding a strong support at the bottom line of that. You can see that bottom line of the wick, because it was kind of sweeping this liquidity zone. And that strong support here led us to just range, ultimately actually having another breakout. And that breakout, was it also around the 50% range? Yeah, 42%. That tells us a lot. Indecision candle couldn't sustain here, so it broke out to the bottom side. But it regained strength because of M2, of course, and the bull market. Just ranging. So if we take that logic with us now to where we are right now, and we would argue that even in a corrective state, it wouldn't be unlikely for us to have this from the bottom area, 45%, 50% move, 130 is still on the table. That is still my base case. And since we have this indecision candle, it is still important where we close. If it's like, are we closing above or below the ultimate wicks, top side, bottom side? And if not, this here might be the support that would sustain the bear market, the next bear market major resistance. It could be, support. It could be the same lineup that we have here, because after this cycle we enter the bear market and we might find support here and have some moves. So it would be important if we get, this is just for the future reference, if we actually get a bounce here and we go back to this range, I would be watching this. I would really be watching this line here for a potential breakdown. It could be a very good opportunity. If we got a lot of profits, I hope we do. This is not financial advice, and none of what I say is financial advice, but if we get a lot of great profits from a possible run here, we cash out, it could be, after a very choppy move down, a range to watch. I would personally be watching this range here. not going to be setting up alerts for now. But in my opinion, still, it would be a very important range to watch. But let's see what happens first, because if we do keep dipping down here, that would mean that we still have a possibility of close. But it's a weekly close. I don't care if we chop down or, wick down below it. We have to close weekly, in my opinion, below this point to get confirmation of a directional change. If we're looking at moving averages, the green one here isn't this, it's a DEMA, it's not a moving averages. But we did just start trading above the 25, the 20-day moving average. We just couldn't hold it. We ranged a little bit on this edge here. If you look at this DEMA, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people are asking me how to use indicators, and you just press more and you press about the script, and it basically tells you everything you need to know. And I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but this is basically the developer behind it itself explaining you how to use it. The formula for the double EMA is as follows. The DEMA is essentially just 2 times estimated moving averages, but I don't know what the fuck the N stands for, to be honest. So the definition is N is the look back period. Okay, that's what it means. Yeah, to calculate the double EMA, first choose the look back period you would like to examine, either 5, 15, or 100 periods. Once you have selected your period, go ahead and calculate the EMA for that period. It doesn't really matter for you. You don't need this. You just need to watch the limitations. Very important part. Always watch limitations if they know this, because that is kind of your bias. The summary could be used, but just a definition. The double exponential moving average is a technical indicator that uses 2 different averages to help confirm uptrends when price moves above average and confirm downtrends when price moves below average. A trend change might be occurring when the price moves in a direction away from the average. In addition, moving averages can be used to signify support and or resistant territories. And it is kind of very sensical in the way that if you're below this EMA, so this the DEMA, the double estimated moving average, if we're below it, we're in a downtrend, the price. If we're above it, we're in an uptrend. And it is very fine illustrated here, because after we wicked here, we started trading below it. And I wouldn't really use it for anything, but a thing that I did kind of notice is that even here, let's find October, even here in October, we wick very strongly below it, but it acts like a magnet. It's kind of like a Bollinger Band. Let's remove the estimated moving averages here. As you can see, the Bollinger Band is more, it's more like a middle point, while this is more estimated. I don't know if I can explain this in English, but this doesn't attract like a magnet. It just shows you the exact middle point of the ranging area. Whereas the DEMA, in my opinion, acts more like a magnet. It doesn't take as long for price, this is just days, right, to retract to this estimate, this median estimate. Meaning that we can trade very much on it, but ultimately closing below it, being in a downtrend. But we always seek it again. As you can see here, even in an uptrend, we want to go back down to it. Let's say to confirm this, we actually also need to look at a bullish period, not just bearish period. This was a bullish period from April. And as you can see, even though zooming out, April looks like it's all up. Here, this is just all up. But if we zoom in, you can see that it is actually still choppy. It is on the daily, it is still choppy. We had a big green leg and we range. And you can see again ranging, but ultimately having very strong moves. But what can we use this for? We can use it for our theory of never trading far from that DEMA. Even in an uptrend, we are trading very much on it, and we have volatile, violent breakouts. and we range a little bit below it, but we always keep in touch with it. So where are we now? This is more TA actually than it is trading. I have my positions open and they are sucky. They are ass. Like my sewage rate right here is just terrible. So terrible here. But to be fair, we are very oversold. And look at this god forsaken movement here. What is this? And I mean, looking at the 15-minute, it is strictly just is aggressively moving down, but it's not really affecting price that much. So hopefully we would maybe have another half an hour of this happening, 2 further candles that either is just a little bit green and we just go a little bit up, and then another red candle, so we go down here, but the red candle don't really move, or just, like we have already did from here. We have a very volatile stochastic RSI, but not that volatile price. So if we could go into the night, 1 o'clock this night, this evening, this, what the fuck do we call it? And we range down, reset stochastic RSI. And as you can see, 30 minute, it looks like we could maybe have confirmation of this move, of a choppy move. It can always just change direction, but let's speculate more worst case scenario, that it tells us that within the next 1 to this is just, it doesn't get lower, it's just completely oversold. So not on the 4-hourly though. The 4-hourly suggests that it is reaching that complete exhaustion zone. Daily, total opposite scenario playing out. And even on the 3-day candle here, it just reached, and that is just what amazes me, that it just reached a top, but it can get a very strong move still from here. Let's see if we have a confirmation of that here. No, but again, you can see this move here, even on the daily. It looks like we completely crashes, but it's actually just touching back to the Bollinger Band. But the fact is, yeah, we have been having a very strong move upwards. But looking at the Bollinger Band, that would suggest the range. We are either trading in the middle of it or very low. On the 4-hourly here, we are almost touching bottom again. What happened last time this happened? Because we were also dipping down and then having this wick around. That's actually not the point I'm trying to make. It is more because this is kind of a curve. So it is more from here, that dip. We are curving. That is mid Bollinger Band move. It's not every time that we get anything that looks exactly like before, but yeah, this is kind of the opposite happening, that we are curving down and moving up to the top Bollinger Band and then crashing. And we have the inverse, the exact opposite happening here, that we have been moving up and touching the top Bollinger Band move and then bottom for a reversal, hopefully. Let's see if we can find the same curvature happening. So like this could also be a reality, that we have the curvature happening and after touching here, complete breakdown. But let's see here. We have touched, or will touch soon, and stochastic RSI is very bottomed out. In the contrast to last time this played out, we had a stochastic RSI that was more here. You can see it was more on the oversold. even though reaching this level, we never really was completely oversold. So we had a strong move down from this area and then a bounce up. And then next time we actually reached this oversoldness, yeah, we had a curvature happening as well. It didn't happen to touch the bottom part of the Bollinger Band. Maybe because that move was so aggressive that it expanded the range. But we had again the curvature move and then a breakout once we crossed above the Bollinger Band and kind of got the RSI returning. I have a liquidation price of 1.49, and am I confident about that? I mean, to be honest, it would have us to, we would need to completely erase all December gains for this level. I mean, I know we had this move here, but still, we need to delete all December gains to hit this. So if I'm still bullish, and I am, I could either just set a stop loss and re-entry, but that's not going to be realistic since I'm going to go to sleep soon. So what I could do is let it ride and just, be a baller or a complete idiot and just say, fuck it, we ball, and say, okay, that's my TP scut, fine. And say, I expect this to turn around. I could even, but I also want to be kind of conservative. This is on the 4 hourly, so this is going to be a liquidity zone in my opinion. And either we're just going to touch the bottom of it, or we're going to get greedy for $10. And I'm just going to say, before we enter it, if we can get that move, I'm going to be more than satisfied. If we have this whole liquidity zone here, yeah, you can see if we just wig above this, it's going to be fine. And ultimately, if we were to catch a move that was going to be this aggressive, yeah, I'm going to be missing out on, what is that, $200 extra. But then again, I'm not here to make degen shit. I'm here to make 15% plays. And this is actually going to be, I know it's going to be more than 15%, but we didn't start with, because this was just going to get straight up into it. We didn't start with a $500 bonus. We actually only started with, what is this position for, man? What did we start here? Let's just say 100%. That's the easiest thing to, just watch it. Yeah, $200. We'd enter with $200. So if we get, where was I doing this here at? $80. No, $80. Yeah. Here. If we can, bro. If we can get this trade, it would mean that we successfully took even more than the 15% trade of a $500 position. Something's happening. It was Friday. No. It was, when was the last time I live traded? Maybe it was here. Yeah, honestly I think it was here. I was getting a bad entry on a trade here at around 91.6. Could it be true? Yeah, but I shorted it and then moved up. But then ultimately, yeah, I think it makes sense. Then I closed it. I had a stop loss here. And I could have taken a very, very good trade. But the importance, in my opinion, here is not to get greedy. Because if we're gonna make this challenge, as I said, when I started the first live stream this Monday, my goal here, together with you guys, is to learn discipline, to re-enter short-term trading midterm trading. Let's be realistic. I am really more of a swing midterm trader, but if we're gonna compound each trade, 250 doesn't seem like much, but after 10 trades, we're almost up at $1,000. We're actually perfectly at $1,000, meaning that the 15% return per trade suddenly starts netting our initial balance here. And after 20 trades, we're up at 4K. 10 trades more, we're up at $16,000. And just opening one trade with this, it's going to be a mad volume. So 10 trades, we're at 60K. 10 more trades, boom, we are at $270,000. So if we want to keep compounding this, I have to find a way where I stop accepting these bad entries and I make lesser trades and I make more consistently good trades. Or I decrease my leverage. The problem trading on swing here, let's take up TradingView again, is right here, I'm bullish. Like, I can't say anything that I'm bullish. We're reaching a very, 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 very great entry here. If we go down here, in my opinion, we still have very short term. If we're just taking these wicks here, either we can take it like this, and we're going to be kind of perfect support, or we could go something more in this area and say we have the bottom of the bodies and not the wicks. I'm gonna have more angle on it. Like, actually, that's almost gonna be the perfect same support level here, confirmed by the downside of the Bollinger Band. But entering this range, let's say we were at 10K, 20K, and we didn't want to risk it, and we didn't want to have stop losses taking us out on a dumb wick. The bottom side to Bollinger Band is 1%. That is, in a 20x trade, 20%, obviously. And if we go down to this wick, it's going to be 5%. That's going to be 100%. That's going to be a full liquidated position. Isn't this also the indecision wick? Yeah, that is that exact range. So if we close on this side and we continue down, we would be fully liquidated. But the upside of this one here is going to be on the top of this here wick for that week that is here, meaning that we have 7% upside, and we actually already hit 7.5%. So 7% upside timed 7.5% times 2. So with a 2x trade, we could possibly have hit that 15% increase that we're looking for. So that's also by saying the higher, if we actually manage to get out of these trades in profit, the higher our trades get, I would decrease the leverage just little by little and try to catch swing trades. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna try and change that mentality. Holy shit! It does look like it really want to close this day at the worst possible way. It's just funny, isn't it? I said this before. It's like the MMs are trying to make a perfect retracement to this range. But now we only have 37 minutes, and if Bitcoin drops, I know it's low liquidity, it's possible, but if Bitcoin drops a further full 1.3% here, I'm just gonna lose faith, because that's gonna be a 4% one-day dump just to reclaim all of those gains, all of those December gains, completely retraced. And people are gonna be so pissed, and they're gonna lose hope. And the fear and greed index is gonna be, what's looking at like now? The fear and greed index is looking like As you can see here, sorry, it is getting late, and when you have kids, man, your sleep is all fucked. As you can see here, the fear and greed index direction, I know it's not on the same level, but bottoms out with Bitcoin, tops out with Bitcoin. Bottoms out, tops out. Let's see here again. Couldn't be more perfect, and the top is not as perfect, right? But it is still in the vicinity. Same with here. Same with these tops. Every time we get a rally, it's obviously because of the sentiment in the market. The fun thing is the sentiment has been decreasing while the tops have been increasing. That's weird. That's weird to me. This is 2024, and I think the reason is kind of obvious because we are making higher highs, and it is hard. Honestly, it is very hard to regain this kind of sentiment, this kind of ridiculous greed that came with the Trump inauguration news. He was elected president, everyone was going wild, and I also got caught with the emotion because at this time I wasn't as deep in politics as I try to be now, and especially with US politics being very different from Danish. My expectations of how he could actually turn things around immediately was completely askewed with the rest of retail. So we all got wrecked on this. On this, yeah, here, on this January dump, February dump. But just to take this into consideration, the last all-time high happened just in the greed zone. If we were to get back to that level, it would indicate that topping out would have sent us to around 150k. And as I said, 130k is gonna be my target for the next top area if we can sustain an uptrend. And if this godforsaken chart doesn't just keep dipping, this is just terrible to look at. Like, we're really pressing downside here. And I saw a Bitcoin whale starting and opening a short today. And he's gonna be so happy. Like, I can't say anything else that from the start of this day, here, even at the worst possible time, it's gonna be the best trade, alright? We have several occasions of longs getting flushed, but what will it take? Is it gonna be not even here? If you can't see it on your screen, I think, but I'm looking at liquidation levels, and when it flashes yellow, it is a clear liquidation of, I think blue is longs and yellow is short, or it's the inverse, yeah. Blue is shorts getting liquidated, pumping price. Yellow is longs getting liquidated, dumping it. So we had an alert here, but it is unlikely. See if you have other 2 hourly. What about one? I mean, it can be true that we have this few. We have that one. And we have this one, yeah. And you can see from this trigger, we have right now 11 bars. That's 11 hours. Half a day of just complete downside. And from this trigger, the actual event that occurred was only 7 bars. And here, much more short-lived. We had a dump and then a fake out. It was only like 1 or 2 or 3 bars for. Can we find more examples of this? This was an outlier. This is kind of just a liquidity sweep grab. In my opinion, for MMMs, when it's just up and down like this, it's just nothing really changes. Here, but it's happened